Up next, we have Robb SEKnFind Coordinator of the Southeast Kansas Library System, talking about the MEGAmenu, crafting a new item browsing aid for the patron catalog. He's running away.
I'm ready.
So let's give it up for Jason.
That was it. That's it. Start. Okay. Okay, so as I said, I am Jason Robb, SEKLS Coordinator. A little closer. Okay. Can you hear me now? Great. Baby does it. I am doing a presentation on SEKLS tomorrow, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. But basically, it's a consortium of libraries in Southeast Kansas that I manage and coordinate. So today I'm talking about the MEGAmenu. I have a few disclaimers before we get started. And I might There we go. Okay, so first of all, this presentation isn't about sharks at all. For those of you who went through the public school system in the United States, you may not know that Kansas is the most landlocked state of them all. We're the contiguous United States geographic center. We don't have sharks, but I have an unhealthy fascination with sharks. I'm actually wearing some socks with sharks on them right now. So I've also got things set up in my training that involve sharks. It's just that. So I wanted to use sharks in my presentation because there's a movie out that I don't recommend you go see because it demonizes sharks, but I like their poster design, so I use it in my presentation. So that's disclaimer number one. No sharks. Don't go see that movie unless you want to dump on. Second one is kind of related. My undergraduate degree is in biology, and I have a master's degree in library science. And you're probably wondering why that matters at all. So I wanted to bring this up because I have very little experience with coding formally. So there's two reasons. There's probably some people in this room that are going to see what I did, and you're going to go, what did he do? And then there's going to be some of you in this room that are like me, who are like, oh, he could do that even though he's only had a semester of C++. He only took one semester of web design in library school and ended up teaching people things instead of learning things. So that's kind of why I brought that up. Don't be discouraged. Koha is extremely customizable, and I love it for that. I don't know a lick of development use as far as Koha goes. I can copy and paste things into a command line, and I understand that .pl stands for Perl, but that's about it. So everything that I've done here is doable. Don't be discouraged if you want to do this kind of customization in Koha. The third disclaimer is that the code is not responsive or that accessible. If you're familiar with MEGAmenus, which we'll define it here in a second, it's just a big old list of lists of lists. So if your patrons use screen readers to access your OPAC, it's probably not going to play well with that. And it's also not responsive because I was out of time and didn't really get that put in. But you could easily adapt this code so it would fit on smaller screens if you wanted to. Fourth disclaimer, final disclaimer, is it's not going to be out of the box copy and paste work on your system because it leverages things like shelf locations, collection codes, all that. You'll have to modify that. I've included links to the code so that you can play with it, but it's not going to be out of the box. So, moving on, just a little bit of background info. As I said, I'll give the whole story of SEKLS tomorrow. But basically, we're a public library consortium. We do have one academic library in our consortium, and then we have 45 publics, ranging from very small to small. There's a few what we consider larger, but we're small potatoes compared to a lot of people in this room. Our OPAC is primarily aimed at the public for that reason. We have a collection of about 700,000 items, a little over, and sharing is the number one for us. Sharing is the reason for the consortium. Sharing and access are what makes SEKLS important in our region. Okay, so with over 700,000 items in the catalog, finding out what's newly added by 45 libraries, constantly adding new things can be tough, especially for the end user. So we wanted to come up with a way that would make it more digestible, and the solution was, of course, the MEGAmenu, to kind of help patrons drill down on what we have and make it easier for them to find when things are added. We did have new item links previously in our other iterations of our OPAC, but basically there were just 4 buttons that said new books, new movies. There was one for new YA teen books and one for new kids. So it was still kind of wide open at that point. So, as I said, the solution was to organize it a little, bring some more categories to the front so patrons can get there. So unfortunately, there's not a Webster's definition of MEGAmenus, but Wiktionary pulled through for us. The definition Wiktionary gives is that it's a drop-down menu that expands into a relatively large and complex interface rather than a single vertical list of things. My definition is that it's a big old honking menu that helps the user better visualize available options. I'm not from the South, but I'm allowed to use those because I'm from the South half. Sorry, I'm not a Mac user, and I'm doing things with my fingers that it knows what I'm doing, but I don't know. Okay, so I wanted to kind of walk through the process that I went through when getting this all together. Make sure I'm not leaving anything out. Nope, that's where my notes end. So we'll go off the slide for now. So the first step in planning this was to harvest ideas, and I like to use the word harvest because stealing sounds bad. We harvest ideas all the time. So using the retail approach was my goal here. I did, skipping down a little bit about finding your audience, I did look at analytics. We have analytics set up in our OPAC. I know that's sometimes considered evil, but it's useful in this case. So according to our analytics, most of our OPAC users are millennials like myself, with the teens and the kind of more middle-aged people using it at the next level down, and then elderly people using it at the furthest level down. So I wanted to aim this at people my age group who probably do a lot of online shopping. So I thought bookstores online are good at helping us find what we're trying to buy. They have large budgets. They have teams dedicated to marketing. Why don't we just harvest from them? So that's where I started. I started looking at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, the big places that have these sorts of catalogs similar to ours, except the money. So I started taking ideas from there, finding categories that would kind of work with our audience, figuring out what would work best for us, which led to phase 2, which was content and layout. So for our situation, we wanted to retain the top level, the 4 top levels that I talked about. So we did books, we did movies and TV, we did teens, and then we did children's. And for each of those categories, we kind of split it out a little different. And I'll show you the finished product later so you can see it. But this is my chart for the books category specifically. So the subcategory broke down to formats, and then I broke it into fiction genres and nonfiction subject areas. So that's kind of the thought process behind contents of the menu. And then layout, this is a screenshot of my OPAC, and it was just kind of an exercise in figuring out where it could stand out most. Do I want it on every page? Do I just want it on the front page? Where is it going to catch the most people's attention? Previously, our links were below the search bar, but we also had a lot of other things on the OPAC. Now it might stand out there more. Ultimately, we decided to go in the top left corner and use the OPAC header system preference to put the code in so that it would persist on all pages and be easy to see up there and have a static location. So the third phase was actually building the searches. I put in a couple tips on here that were most handy in regards to this being a new item search module. So when you're building searches, basically all you're doing is going into your OPAC, going to the advanced search module, and then picking the categories you want that search to search. When you click on the link, I want it to search for this specific stuff. So if you want it to only show new items every time that link is clicked, you want to use settings like this. So you definitely want it to sort by acquisition date new, so that whenever the newest item is added, it's going to float to the top and be in the first search results. And then I also like to put an open-ended copyright date filter on there, just so that when items are added that are older, they're not coming up as a new item. This became necessary as we migrated more libraries in. We would get a bunch of, well, we're migrating one soon, that's going to have over 10,000 items, and I really doubt much of that is going to be over the 2018 copyright date. So if we dumped that in and didn't have these the copyright date filtered out, then we would get a bunch of junk on the list, and it would become useless. Other than that, the rest of it is just basic searching for us, but for the patron it may be difficult, so we're creating these links so that the patron is easily accessing things that we might find more simple to do. So all of the searches in my mega menu are a little different. Some of them are going to search collection code, shelf locations. They're going to leverage the different ways that we've already organized our data. I also have a few in that go directly to a list. So we've got a books to movie list curated for children and a books to movie list curated for teens, so that they can just click on that and go directly to see those. And then most of them you leverage subject headings. So our catalog isn't the cleanest, but it's still, as new records come in, they usually do have the correct subject headings to leverage as far as finding a new fiction, finding a fantasy fiction, finding historical fiction. So I went through the Library of Congress authorized headings and leveraged those specifically to try and pull out at least a good smattering of new items whenever the search is run. And then phase 4, of course, was actually coding it all out. I did this more than a year ago, and as I went back and realized I didn't use any JavaScript because I wasn't pretending like I knew how JavaScript worked back then. So this is based entirely on HTML and CSS. And I've included the link to my code. Also, an aside, this is on GitHub, but I really don't understand Git. So I know how to host websites on it, though. So that's where I posted my code. So you'll have access to that if you want to play with it. And just to take a look at that real fast, all it is a blank white page. Here's the mega menu that we're talking about with the different categories. And then the big nasty code, which is just a list within a list and a bunch of lists within those lists, with the links that we generated. And you can't really see my links here unless you scroll over, which you can't do. Until you hit the bottom. But that's it, basically. And then this CSS is here. Again, those of you who know what's going on this page probably know that there's problems. Feel free to point those out to me in like email or whatever. But it works. and it works for us. So that's where that is. You'll also notice, I'm going to go over to my OPAC now, just to show, because this isn't going to give me any actual live results, sort of how it works and show it off. So here's my OPAC. Again, my OPAC isn't all that accessible either. There's lists. That's okay. That's something for us to work on in the future. Here's where we decided to put the link to the new item browse. It shows up on most pages in the OPAC. So anywhere you're at, you can browse the collection. We decided to go with an orange color to make it pop because our branding is generally blues, grays. So we wanted it to stand out on the page and we wanted people to click it. So as you can see, I've got it divided out a little different for each one. Put the new arrival heading on these just to emphasize that these are new items that you're searching. And then I've got, as I said, for fiction and nonfiction, I've got them separated out using subject headings for the most part within those searches that we constructed. For movies and TV, it's about the same, although I do have television and movies separated out into two categories. And then DVDs, Blu-rays, and TV series each get their own new arrivals. And I believe those searches are based on the genre subheading. I don't know. There's a standard there. I'm not a cataloger, but I have cataloged. And then the teens, it gets a little different. So I know that graphic novels are for everyone, but for our audience, most of our graphic novels are aimed at teens. So we went ahead and created the new browse for graphic novels within the teen menu. So we've got it separated out again by fiction and nonfiction, but we also did a graphic novels there. And then I went through and found the most common graphic novel subheadings in our catalog, separated out searches there. And then I found some different, more teen-specific subject headings to do on the browser over here. And as you can see, the books to movie is there. And as I said, that goes to a curated list rather than a search. That we try to keep it up to date. And then on the kids, again, the categories are a little bit different. Since we do separate out kids movies by shelf location, I was able to create searches for kids DVDs and Blu-rays directly there. My books to movie went under that heading for this one. The separations for our kids books are a little different. We keep things separated out by easies, early readers, chapter books, again, graphic novels, nonfiction, audiobooks. And then the nonfiction are more tailored towards children than some of our others. So animals, cars and trains, that kind of thing. And then finally, there you see the popular series heading over there. I ran a report, just a basic report of circulation on our kids items based on series, and just pulled out our most popular series and created searches on those so that they can get directly to some of that. And we try to keep that updated every year or two. So I guess I haven't mentioned, I do have these widgets also coded in there. We subscribe to Libraryware, which makes this very easy. They have their own coding done for that, and then it leverages their newsletters. So we don't actually have to babysit that stuff at all. It constantly updates when they update their newsletters, but that is an additional cost. So back to my slide. Does it help? So as I said, I have analytics. They can't always be trusted, but I do have some click counts. And also, as I said, we are small potatoes, and our OPAC probably doesn't get clicked as much as some other larger users do. We are a generally rural area where our users aren't as apt to go on the OPAC and use it as maybe larger urban areas might. So I do have click counts here. So the new item DVD has gotten the most clicks in the past year, just under 1,500. Our regular print has gotten the second most clicks, just a little less. Blu-rays are just under 500, and then audiobooks and large print further down the list. So not a lot of clicks out of it, but it is getting used and proving a little more value than probably our old buttons had. So now, I feel bad because that was really short and you guys are really into the ILL thing. we can always go back to those questions after I'm done. Does anybody have questions for me? Anything you want to see? Anything that didn't make sense?
Sorry, I'm going to pick on you.
Thank you.
So you're building the menus with the search filters in there. So does that mean you're having to go back there every year and update the filter?
The only ones that need updated are the copyright filters, and that can probably be handled with jQuery, just doing a current date year type thing. It's just something that I haven't revisited. But yeah, the rest of them, since most of them just sort by acquisition date, they're just self-updating, which takes the burden off of me. Good.
How do you address on-order items?
We do not allow on-order items in our catalog. It's just something, the policy we've set. You could potentially filter those out, maybe. I don't know. You can figure it out, Ed.
Can you scroll back in your slides to the one where the link is to your code?
Sure.
Thanks.
That one there. And you can like look at my other stuff in my GitHub. I think the only other thing of value is the nacho modal that I made, which is a whole other fun story. But it's on the Koha US website if you want to learn more about nachos. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you very much, Jason. So it's lunchtime, and